MrTransformers96 here from the video. We're going to be talking about some newly kind of pre-order hot toys, kind of my thoughts on the hot toys that I'm interested in. So I do an update on this every now and then, and if you haven't watched it before, basically what I do is I take the hot toys that I'm interested in and I kind of rank them, just kind of going over my general thoughts of the hot toys that are on pre-order, which ones are a must-have for me that I've already pre-ordered, which ones are ones that I'm thinking about. I haven't physically pulled the trigger and pre-ordered yet, but I am really wanting and definitely considering. And then the section that's the ones that I'd like to have, but I don't think I'm going to be ordering, most likely. So I just, kind of break it down, and obviously as new hot toys are put on pre-order, there's new characters that can be added to this. There's characters that obviously I've received, so then I take them off this list. And then there's just the general change of times that changes my mind. So there's always, changes on this. There's certain figures that were in my, kind of thinking about ordering category that I drop down to my want but probably won't get, because also I leave it as is until I come back to do a new video on it, and then I change up stuff, but I can reuse some of the pictures because some of the characters / figures are still going to be on this. So it's really interesting to see what I had last time, and just for instance, my lowest category, the want but probably won't get, it had like 5 figures in total, and 2 of them I ended up buying, so it just, you never know what'll happen as time goes on. Things will change as figures are released. Who knows, excitement for them might pick up again, or new movies that come out might build excitement for characters that previously I didn't think there was a need for. So there's all sorts of things that can change. So that's what this video is, just going down and kind of talking about what I think of the hot toys that are on pre-order and which ones are the most interesting to me and kind of how I'd rank them and what I'm thinking about getting. So let's start off with the ones that I am getting. These are the ones that are I have on pre-order already, so they're a must. Mysterio, the Endgame Trinity, and then Scarlet Witch from WandaVision. So these are the ones that I've pulled the trigger on. I've had the 4 on the left on pre-order for a long time now. They're just ones that are taking forever, particularly that Captain America, since he was released overseas like months ago, so disappointed that I don't have him yet. But nonetheless, those have been on pre-order for a long time. The one that I did pre-order recently, though, is WandaVision. Wanda from WandaVision. This Scarlet Witch figure, I'm typically the type of person that does not pre-order figures right away. I always wait because there's no chance that they'll ever sell out, while they're on pre-order. It's hardly ever that a figure will sell out on pre-order, but if they do, it's like right after they're released, like overseas, so they're about to come out here. So because of that, I don't have any urgency to pre-order them immediately, and I like to hold off because these things take so long to come out. My mind can change. There have been hot toys that I've had on pre-order previously because when I first started collecting hot toys, I would be a day one pre-orderer, and that kind of bit me sometimes because after a year of having it on pre-order, I maybe decided that I didn't need it or there was a different version that I wanted instead. So because of that, I've kind of gotten into the mindset and the practice of not ordering figures until they've been on pre-order for several months or even sometimes maybe a year. But with Wanda, I made an exception. This is one that I was very confident that 100%, whether it took 2 years to come out, that would be one that I'd want just as much as the day that it went on pre-order. So I pre-ordered her immediately. Don't regret it, and I'm very excited for that figure. It's definitely a must-have. But yeah, and as you can see, they're all Marvel. Now, as this list goes on, there's not much DC on this list, I will say. DC is very light. However, the pre-orders are all Marvel, and then as you go down, though, a lot of Star Wars starts to kick in, because there are so many Mandalorian figures that are coming out that I have interest in, but haven't quite decided which ones I'm gonna pull the trigger on. But there you go. These are the ones that are an absolute must and that I have already pre-ordered. Now the ones that I'm thinking about ordering, so these are the ones that I'm really iffy on. I haven't pulled the trigger yet on them. However, I'm close to or thinking about very hard. So this is the right before the order type of list. Just starting on the left, Venom. I think Venom looks awesome. I think right now, if you were to ask me which one is the one I'm least likely to order, it's probably Venom. But once there's a trailer for the sequel, and once that movie comes out, I think that my excitement for that figure will regenerate. My big issue with it is how much rubber there is on it, unfortunately. But the figure himself looks awesome, and that's one that's very exciting. And then we have some Mandalorian figures, the Shore Trooper, Ahsoka, and Boba. So the Shore Trooper is a trooper that I did not get when Rogue One came out, and I've always regretted it. So here I finally have a second chance to get it. I don't see myself letting this one go, because very similarly they did this with the Death Trooper. And same thing for me. I didn't order it for Rogue One, always regretted it. Got it from the Mandalorian, and I'm very happy that I do have it. It's now sold out. So I think that the Shore Trooper, I won't let it slip by me again. So if I had to guess, most likely I'll be ordering that one, especially since he's a trooper. He's on the lower end price-wise from Hot Toys' kind of new rate. You know, I think that nowadays your standard figure is about 280, which is just scary, let me tell you. But because it's a Shore Trooper, because it's a trooper, no head sculpt, a little bit more basic design, it's only like 230. Then Ahsoka and Boba are right neck and neck. They really are. These are the characters that were really exciting in Season 2, and very excited to see the figures. I think that they both look great. I have issues that's making me hold off on both of them, one of which is that they're both getting their own series. So that makes me question if their design will change heavily in their own series, and maybe I'll prefer that version over this one, because I'd probably prefer not to buy, two versions of them. So that makes me want to hold off on them until we get a little closer to release, because then, at least with Boba, I'll for sure know what he'll look like. And who knows, maybe his design won't change from the end of The Mandalorian, but that's also a thing with Boba, is that his design did change from this in the season that we saw. So this is, of course, his look from the episode when he put on the armor for the first time, and then for the last few episodes he had a much different look. It was, the damage was completely taken off. It was a very clean look for Boba, which I think that looks neat too. But personally, I kind of like the damage more, but the clean is more different. So that makes me, more interested, because I have an original trilogy Boba. So the clean look is just very different, which I think is cool. If I were to get Boba, I would get the 2-pack. It just seems worth it, even though, it's expensive for them both. When you break down how much they are a piece, it's, comes out to about $245 or so per figure, while if you just get the armored Boba, it's $285. So there is a savings there. I think if I'm gonna get Boba, it's worth the extra money to get the kind of unmasked, unarmored version of him. So I'm still debating. Again, I want a new Boba. I will definitely get a new Boba, but whether I get this 2-pack or if I hold out just for a more clean design from his own series remains to be seen. I haven't decided yet. Ahsoka, though, I really like. Again, I think that her design might change, but it probably won't change much. So I think that this is a pretty decent as far as representation of the figure, even if her costume changes just a little bit. I don't think that it'll be anything crazy different. Now, I don't like her rubber arms, though. The fact that she has rubber shoulders and possibly rubber elbows, that is super annoying to me. So I might just want to hold out, hoping that they'll do another version that isn't like that, but chances are they won't. So I might just end up getting that one for sure. We'll have to see. I think that the 3 on this list that I am most excited for are Ahsoka, Boba, and then Falcon or Captain America. This is the newest figure to go on pre-order that I have on this list. Really, loving the new costume. I think it looks great. The new wings are really sick. I think it just looks like an awesome figure overall. And it was actually cheaper than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be over $400. Turned out to be $375. Still, of course, very expensive, but less than what I was expecting, which is quite nice. So I am very interested in that figure. Almost pulled the trigger on that one, similar to Scarlet Witch, where I just ordered it right away. I almost did that on this one, but I'm not sure. I'm a little worried that they'll change his costume a little bit. It'll have the same type of design, but I could see them changing it enough to maybe me wanting a different version later on. So that's what makes me a little bit hesitant, and that I maybe should just wait to see when he pops up next in the MCU and kind of what costume he's wielding there. But this one is extremely tempting. I think it'll be a really great centerpiece for this kind of the second. Although we're in like phase 4, but the way I consider it, phase 1 is the story with the Trinity that we had, Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America, which ended with Endgame, and now we're on the next phase of the MCU, in my opinion. So I think that he'll be a centerpiece for that, which is nice. And then there's the test suit Tony Stark. This is a figure that I do like. Similar to the Shore Trooper, it's a figure that's kind of a redo of an old one that I've always wanted. So to have another chance to get it is really cool. Do I need it? No. Do I have a great spot for it either? Not really. I don't know what I display this with. I have a Tony Stark figure with my Iron Legion, so this one would kind of just be displayed by himself. It's probably not worth it altogether, but it is something that I have always wanted, and I just watched the original Iron Man the other day again. And during this scene, it really made me want the figure even more. Had I not watched the movie again just recently, I might have bumped this one down to the next category, but because of that, it saved it a little bit. But I could see myself not getting this figure overall. Only time will tell here. And then finally, we have the category of ones that I'd like, but I probably won't get. And just going over it, the Iron Man on the left, if that one was a reasonable price, I would get it. I think that it's very cool, very unique. It is so overpriced, though, it's unbelievable. It's not even die-cast, and it's a die-cast price, which is crazy. Then Kylo Ren, this new version looks really cool. I have both of the other Kylo Rens, though, and, there's not much different. I mean, the main difference is that there's a new head sculpt, which really intrigues me, and then there's the helmet that has the scarring, which is cool, but I don't know if it's worth a whole nother figure for a new head and a new helmet. I'm sure there's other new pieces on it, but for the most part there's nothing different design, just visually wise. And then we have the Dark Trooper. This is a trooper that I think is really cool in the movie. I think that their scene is awesome. Now, what makes me not go 100% I need it is that I think that although I love it in that scene, and I think it was great, who knows if we'll ever see these troopers again. And, if they're just in one episode of a Star Wars TV show, don't know that it's necessary for me. Well, I know that they're in more than one episode. They have one, big episode, though, I would consider it. So, to be honest, I don't know if I'm gonna need it, but I do think that it looks very cool. I also think that it's the type of figure that will kind of have a similar reaction to the Death Trooper and the Shore Trooper from Rogue One, where once it sells out after a couple years, I could see this one getting very rare. And then we have Moff Gideon. This is another Mandalorian figure. Had Boba and Ahsoka not appeared in the second season, Moff would probably be the one that I was probably going to get. But now that there's just so many other Mandalorian figures that I want, it's just I'm starting to have to weed out some of the ones that I don't need. And that's kind of what this is. I love it, but I probably don't need it. Clone Wars Ahsoka, I think it looks like a great figure. Not a fan of the rubber elbows, though, unfortunately. But since we've got a now live-action Ahsoka, I think that I probably will just stick with that one, and I don't think I'm going to find the need to get this one as well. But I think it's really cool. So, because of the live-action one, this Ahsoka was originally on my thinking about ordering category in my last video, but with the live-action one, she's been bumped down. Then we have the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn. Costume-wise, I think it's unique. I think it looks like a fun figure. Face sculpt, I'm not a huge fan of this design. The gold suit one, I think has a better face sculpt. And, I'd almost consider her maybe tied with this one if I will get either of the Harley Quinns from Birds of Prey. I probably won't. I probably will decide that it's not necessary. But nonetheless, I think that it's neat. And I definitely, probably because, this one's going to come out in a couple months. They might show the new Harley Quinn Hot Toys figure from Suicide Squad 2. I might be more interested in that one, to be honest. And then we have Thanos Battle Damaged. I like the Battle Damaged a lot. I really like the new head sculpt too, not the one in this picture. He does come with another one that looks great. And it just looks like a great figure. My hold up and the reason that I'm thinking that I probably won't get it is for the fact that I have 3 other Hot Toys Thanoses. I have the Guardians of the Galaxy one, I have the Infinity War one, and I have the clean version of the Endgame one. So to get another version seems a little unnecessary since there's not a ton different, and he's just a very expensive figure. You know, he's over $400. So if he was a $200 figure, I could see maybe getting this 4th one just because it's such a cool design. But at a $400 rate, I've invested probably too much than I've already should have in Hot Toys Thanoses. So that's the reason I probably won't get him. I'm almost certain that I won't pre-order him. Now, what I did with the clean version of Thanos is I wasn't planning on getting that one. I figured that if I were to get an armored Thanos, I'd get this one. But I went to a convention that had some out-of-package armored Thanoses, and he looked so great in person that I started watching it online, and I was able to get one for a good price. So I'll do the same with this one, I think. I think that if I can get it for a good price under retail, I would be very interested. But if I can't, if it's something that sells out and it doesn't go down in price, then I'll probably just be happy with the Thanoses that I do have. There you go, though. That's my breakdown of the Hot Toys that I really like and want, but probably won't end up getting. The ones that I really like and am deciding which ones to pull the trigger on. The ones that I have pulled the trigger on and are just waiting to ship. And just in total, what I think of the new Hot Toys on pre-order that I'm actually interested in. As you can see, it is mainly Marvel and Star Wars. You have a Sony Marvel in there, and then you have a one DC character. DC just hasn't done a ton of movies. You know, had they did a bigger line for the Snyder Cut, I probably would have some of those figures on here, but with the 2-pack that they released, there's not much. So there you go, that's my thoughts on the Hot Toys that I'm interested in that are on pre-order. Let me know what you guys think of what I'm thinking about on them, and I'd love to hear which Hot Toys you guys are most excited for too. And thanks so much for watching.